talking to no one right now. That's okay. All right, I'm talking to no one right now, but that's okay because we're just gonna do this thing and hopefully people will show up. All right, so this is basic charting for those of you who don't know what charting is / want to understand it, want to know how I do it, whatever you want to do. So first things first, in order to understand what we're doing, I'm going to go through a little bit of what you can find on eSuite. You can pull up eSuite as you're watching this, or you can just take notes and then go back and look at those reports. I am not going to show my reports because this is a public broadcast and I don't think I need to be showing everything to the world. So, but I'm going to kind of show you where to navigate in eSuite and what I do in order to chart. So, so first thing is that you need to be able to log into eSuite. This is one of the reasons why you need to run your $20 website, because it's not just your website. Although it's insanity to me that anyone would not want to have their online store up and running, but I understand that things can be tight. You never not want to run your $20 eSuite, because that is where you're going to be able to get all of this information and be able to run reports and be able to see where your business is at any given time, have access to It-Works-U, have access to all of their training, all of the charts, all that stuff. So real talk, run your website. Okay, so the other thing that you need to have is your chart printed. So I'm going to start with a Ruby chart. This is my husband's Ruby chart. And then I'll just kind of show you just how I work with my team and how I chart myself. I guess I'll show you my chart as well. So you need to have the chart that is the next chart from your current rank. So if that's a distributor, I always just suggest that you start with a Ruby chart. That's where your goal is to go anyway. It's really your first promotion goal. Obviously, you're going to get to executive before you hit Ruby, but executive is pretty easy to understand. It's two. Ruby is when it starts to get a little bit more complicated. You have more people to pay attention to. You have more people to track. You have more things to do. So it's nice to have a chart just to keep track of where it is. So you may only have one name here or two, but you need to have a chart printed that is the next level. So if, let's say, all of the names are filled in on this chart, but you haven't yet gotten the volume to get to that rank, I would suggest that you also print the next chart. I don't have an emerald chart because everyone that I have is either going for Ruby or going for Diamond. So, but you would have the next chart up so that as you're adding distributors and working your steps to success, you can kind of visualize where you're going. So a Diamond chart is fine to have because you have an emerald there. So we'll just use an emerald as an example here. Once you're off your Ruby chart, you're going to need an emerald. So I'm going to use this one as an example. And that's Miss Rachel's Diamond chart, which will be full soon enough, pretty soon. New distributor on her team today. Okay, so this is a chart. So when we talk about charting, I'm not just talking about putting names in boxes, although obviously that's helpful. You need to understand where everyone is in your organization. So how do you know that if you don't know that now? That goes to eSuite. Okay, so many things. So I don't even know if you can read that. Okay, I'm in reports, okay? So in eSuite, you have a bunch of different things that you can look at. eSuite can be somewhat daunting if you don't get in there and just kind of mess around and play with it. I would suggest that in your first 30 to 45 days, you just take an hour or so and just kind of look around and see where things are. For example, where are all the product sheets that the PDF product sheets that you might want to send to a potential customer? Where can you change your auto ship? Where do you see what orders have run? Okay, so when you're talking about charting, almost everything that you need to know is going to be, other than actually printing your chart, which is going to be in documents, Oh, thank you. That's helpful. Is going to be in reports. Okay, so you have a couple of different options for figuring out your chart, meaning who is where and what level they're on. I honestly would hope that you would know who's on your team and where they are. But if you don't know, oh, bless you. I have my iPad now. Uh-oh. That might help. I don't know, you still can't see. Anyway, so reports is where I go to do almost everything that I do on eSuite other than change my auto ship. I don't really look anywhere else. It's reports and it's and that's it. Okay, so if you want to click on reports, I don't know if you can see this at all, but hopefully it'll tweak out and let you see it. You'll see that it's organized into several different types. Maybe you can see that. I don't know. It's kind of bright. The first one is organization viewers. The second one is volume reports. The third is downline achievement. Oh, I guess it's 5. Fourth is recruitment. And the fifth is personal achievement. So for our purposes right now in just charting our boxes, we're going to look at one of 2 reports. It is either going to be organization viewer or tree viewer. I prefer tree viewer because I find organization viewer to be very slow and tedious. It annoys me and I don't like it. So if you want to click on tree viewer, then I'll walk you through how you can look at the different stuff. So I really don't want to show you my tree viewer right now because it shows people's names, and again, this is a public thing. But when you're looking at it, okay, so when it first comes up, maybe I can show you that. No, I can't. When it first comes up, you're going to see your stuff on the right, okay? And then on the left, it's going to say tree view and search, and then it's going to have show loyal customers and show inactive customers and loyal customer referrals. So right now, you don't have to click the box of show loyal customers because we're just looking for distributors, and it's going to save you time and anxiety if you just don't click that box right now. We're just charting your downline, okay? So you're going to see right underneath your name on that in the left-hand bar, you're going to see your name at the top in bold, and then underneath with ones next to it, that's going to be all the distributors that are on your top line. Okay, so number 1 is top line distributor. Okay, it's going to keep going like that down, and you'll see numbers, or not numbers, little blue arrows next to the distributors that have distributors under them. Okay, so let's say you have you know, the leg that is going to be your emerald leg for diamond. Okay, so you're going to just tap or click on that arrow, and then you're going to see underneath that person's name a bunch of 2s. Okay, and that's going to be the distributors that are on their top line, but that's your second distributor level. You with me? Okay. All right, so some of those may have blue arrows next to their name if distributors under that top line distributor have signed distributors or have distributors placed under them, okay? So you can click on that or tap on that, and it will just continue. And you'll see the numbers continue to go up. Those are the levels of distributors that you have. So for example, I have, we'll just go down one crazy level. One crazy leg. I have distributors all the way down to my 11th level, no, 12th level. So as you are growing your team and as your team evolves, those numbers will continue to grow, and that's great. Not all of those people are working, and that's okay, because the active, incredible team is now on that leg, is now on my 8th level. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I don't care where you are. Just care that you're there. So that's how you can kind of trace. So what I would do with my chart then is I would, okay, for my first level, obviously this chart is not going to work for 11 levels, okay? This chart would work for 11 levels, not even really, okay? That's not even paying attention to people who aren't working anymore or whatever. This is just active people, but this is when you get farther along. But when you're first starting out, probably you're going to have 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 levels. If you're at 3 levels, you're probably onto an emerald chart. Okay, so you're just going to, whatever the number 1 distributors are, you're going to write them across your top line. Okay, whatever the number 2, you're going to put them underneath the person that they're underneath. It's not willy-nilly here. It's whoever is underneath. When you click on that blue arrow, whoever's underneath that person, you put them there, and so on. Okay, so if you have a 3 level, what did I do with that? Oh, if you have a, you know, so if you have, this would be level number 1, right? Level number 1. This is the emerald, okay? Level number 2, or still level number 1, because this is a ruby, and these are the 5 people on the top line that you need for diamond. Remember what we talked about at the team meeting? 5 people on the top line, 1's an emerald, 1's a ruby. And then this would be level number 2, and level number 3, and level number 4, okay? So remember that this is when you have not checked the loyal customers, because loyal customers change the levels, okay? I don't want to lose you here, but we're just talking about when that box on top that says show loyal customers is not checked. If that box is checked, the numbers mean something different, okay? And you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I have 150 distributors. No, you have 150 loyal customers, which is fantastic, but that's a whole different ballgame, okay? So that's how you do it, okay? That's how you chart your organization. So then once you've charted, right, there will be times that you'll have to what we call rechart, and that usually happens when someone has been inactive for a while and does not renew after a year, or decides to quit and turn off auto ship, and you no longer want to count them as like a title box, meaning the executive or the emerald or the ruby. This happens and it sucks, but it's better to never build someone who's not working. I've done that. It's horrible because it's your responsibility to keep all of that going and to build that entire leg instead of working with someone who is already doing their steps to success. That's ideally what we want. And you never want to reward someone who's not working with additional workers. It doesn't make any sense. Find the worker on the leg and work with that worker. Okay, so sometimes you'll rechart, but for the most part, your chart will stay fairly stable, except for when you get to add names, which is so fun, okay? So as, let's say, someone on your team signs a distributor, then you, and when they tell you, they text you or they call you and they say, I'm so excited, I've got someone signing up. And you're like, that's awesome, what's their name? Let's get them, you know, do you need any help? Anything that I can do for you? And then you put them on your chart. You might talk to your teammate about where it might be wise to place them, because as you're charting yourself, you're also charting that team member to their next promotion. So you can be talking to them about, well, you know, you have that 1 box left for your ruby. That would be a fantastic place to put them. Have you thought, you know, have you thought about helping out this, you know, your executive to get boxed for that promotion so that you're boxed for your promotion? For the most part, so just keeping an eye on your chart will help you to know where to place people, and also help you to know where to place your distributors, and help you coach your team to place their distributors as wisely as possible. Every chart is going to have its own kind of strange things. So if you have questions about your chart, you can always ask your diamond or double diamond upline. We have been around for a while and have seen all of us actually have seen quite a few charting craziness options. So we can certainly chat with you about the different options. So, all right, so that's just charting, like as in putting names in boxes. But when I'm talking about charting, that's not what I'm talking about. Every month you should be charting. And what that means is you need to be aware of what's happening in your business. I don't want to say every day because I'm not in eSuite every day, but you need to have a good idea of what's happening on your chart, meaning all of the distributors on your chart, where's the volume at, okay? Because if Brent wants to go Ruby this month, he's got all the distributors in place. But that doesn't help him unless every one of the boxes that needs to be at 400 are at 400. So he could have 1 million distributors under him, and it doesn't matter. What matters is that each one of these boxes is at 400 and that this title box promotes, okay? So in order for a title box to promote, the first thing that you need to know is, did this person run their ADBV auto ship? So oftentimes what I will do is, if I am in promotion mode, meaning it is a promotion month for me, or I want it to be, okay, I will look to see that any title box on my chart, so anyone who is going to promote with me, or before me actually, has run their ADBV auto ship. So I will go check to see that that is scheduled, okay? So when I know that it is scheduled, I will write up at the top of that box that they have the ADBV, okay, that is good. Because they have to be commission qualified in order to promote, okay? And the easiest and best way to make sure that everything stays stable is for them to run their ADBV auto ship. And we already talked about this at the team meeting. I'm not going to belabor this. I'm just going to say again that you're in cloud cuckoo land if you think that you can run a business as a business owner without some overhead. So figure it out and run your auto ship. All right, so, and that's not meant to be harsh. It's just meant to say you can be making $10,000 a month and still run your business for $100. And that to me is crazy town. Like, that's awesome. So it makes those months where you're making 60 bucks and you're running your ADBV auto ship and you have the opportunity to sell wraps and do wrap parties and build your business for that amount of money, totally worth it. Totally worth it, because your profit margin is insane. And that's what we're all working for, right? Okay, so I check to make sure that the ADBV auto ship is there. Okay, so early in the month, I may or may not do a volume projection. So I will go through and see, okay, who here, what's the loyal customer situation? How many orders do they have that are about to run? And then I will put, a projected amount in each box. So let's say it's going to be 380. That's going to be 150. That's 290. Okay. And I put that in brackets. Okay. That's just the projected. Nothing. Let me tell you, nothing is secure until the auto ship runs and clears, because a credit card decline will take that number down because the auto ship didn't actually run. A return can take that down in that box, a return from last month. I mean, you just have to be constantly looking at the volume. So where do you look for that volume? Okay, so remember that we're back to eSuite. Remember on eSuite, there are several different types of reports. For this, I also look at TreeViewer. When I'm looking at a projection of all of the auto ships, I look at TreeViewer. But remember last time we did not check that show loyal customer box? I want you to check it right now and see what happens. So tap on it or click on it. And then all of a sudden you're gonna see these blue names. They're blue linked names. pop up. Those are loyal customers. You'll see a ton of them on your top line, at least 4 probably on your top line. Some of you are going to have like 14 on your top line, like I do. And then you're going to be able to click on those distributors again, tap on those distributors, and you'll see their loyal customers. And then, so when you are clicking on each distributor, you'll be able to look at each one of their loyal customers and see what their auto ship projection is. So when you click on any one of those loyal customers, you can see underneath them, it will say their name, their status. So if they're active, then there's someone that you can count as a loyal customer. And then it will say auto ships and recent orders. So the auto ship is what you're looking for. So that will have what they're scheduled to run, and then they will be able to, and you'll be able to add that up. So I do that for every, I just go through and I add it up for each of those legs that are important to me for the promotion, which is everybody really. So I do it for everyone. It can be, somewhat time consuming, but it's powerful to know where you're at. And remember that anyone can change their auto ship up to like 11:59 the night before it runs. So that can change as they are getting closer. They get the reminder email 5 days before their auto ship. So I traditionally see people change it around that time because they get reminded of it. And yes. Okay. So once you've gone through that, right, then how do you keep track of the awesomeness that comes when everyone is signing people and all that kind of stuff? Okay. So there's a couple of different reports that I use. The first one is I use downline orders. I like to see what's happening in my organization. Like for example, I like to see that, there have been a bunch of loyal customers who have ordered outside of their auto ship. That's always fun. And I always click on them and I think, my goodness, like, why is this guy like, ordering so much stuff? That's awesome. Maybe he should be a distributor, right? And I think, oh, that guy is in love with the products. He's ordered like 6 different things and he keeps coming back. Or I see auto ships that run. I also will see, so there's 3 different, there's really 2. There's 2 different types of orders when you see them on your downline orders, because you may not recognize all the names. I certainly don't recognize all the names. There's an API order. An API order either is the first order of a loyal customer agreement, it's the initial order, or it is an outside of the auto ship order. So those are always the ones that I pay most attention to. Other ones are called recurring orders, and those are great, but they're the auto ships that I already paid attention to. So they may be different, which I will, figure out later, or, they're just what I already looked at, so I don't really pay too much attention to it. It's also auto ships for any kind of auto ship for distributor, auto ship for loyal customer is a recurring order. But the API orders are always fun for me. So sometimes I'll see an API order that is a 0 BV. That usually indicates a perk points or a perk points purchase, or a 120 rebate credit redemption. So I'm like, yay, they use their rebate credit. That's awesome. Or yay, they're using their perk points. Somebody's distributor is on it. That's good. That means that they understand, that loyal customer understands the perks. And usually the people that are using their points in between their auto ships are people that stick around longer. I've noticed that. So it's very good to get them to try other things with their perk points because it helps with retention. But I also like to look at orders that are API orders that have standard BV. So this one is a BV of 5. So that's obviously a perk points order that went a little bit over. But this one's 54. But I seem to remember this guy's name. So I click on it and I look at the top and it says loyal customer since June 15th, 2014, and he's still ordering. And he has not only ordered, he still has an auto ship running. He's ordered 2 things in August already. So Lindsay Holloway, if you are watching this, which you should, or I'll kick your butt, you should really talk to Tyrone about being a distributor. Anyway, that's one thing that I look at, and I try to look at that most every day, especially towards the end of the month as I'm charting, because if I see a loyal customer come through from a particular box, from a particular distributor, then I'm going to find out where that distributor is going, or where that loyal customer is going, if that distributor is going to move that loyal customer for building volume underneath them for promotion purposes, or if they're new in the business and it's part of their 4 or just part of their first month or whatever, then I know that that's going to add volume to that particular box. So I can add it on my chart. So as I see a downline order come in, let's say Stephanie got another wrap order, I would change that from 54 to 108. And I'm always counting BV here. I'm not counting dollars. Dollars mean nothing to me. BV means everything. Okay. So I change it. So now it says 108 instead of 54. So I have a good idea of when I sign a loyal customer, let's say I sign someone and they are doing the triple threat, that's 92 BV. Then I'm like, okay, where do I put this to make the most impact? Okay, I don't want to overfill Sarah's box. It's already at 380. I don't want to put 92 there. But I would like to do something, where I'm going to get someone pretty darn close, if not all the way there. And Ashley's box, let's say, is at 290. I put 92 there, and she's within 20 of being full. And that's pretty awesome. Okay, so I'm probably going to put it there. Okay. So that's what I do. And I do it, sorry, I'm going to grab my chart. Once the 25th comes, the 25th is when all auto ships run. Once the 25th comes, I look at another report, which is called Volume Total by Distributor. And I look to see if my projections are on with what the actual volume is. And if it's wildly off, I go and figure out why. So I go back to Tree Viewer and I look at it and I say, okay, why is this box not at 380? I thought it was going to be at 380 and it's at 220. And I might find a couple of things. One, that someone who has completed their 3 months turned off their auto. Okay. If that's the case, I'm going to make sure that that distributor contacts them about their perk points, because those expire within 30 days. And that's another way to try to get a little bit of BV in that box from that order. Number 2, there may be an unresolved credit card decline. So I want to make sure that I check with my customers, make sure that they understand that it's a really simple fix. It's normally something where they had to get a new card. It's not normally like they don't have enough money. And so it's not a thing. Like, don't make it a thing. It's just, hey, your credit card didn't go through. I know you were excited about your greens this month. It's probably an expired card. Can I help you fix it? I had a couple of those last month. One of them totally ignored me. And the other one was like, oh my gosh, I had to get a new card. It's such a pain in my butt. I can't believe I forgot. I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's really not a big deal. And she fixed it herself and it reran. Okay, it's no big deal. Those are really the things that are going to be most likely for a box that is dropped. The other thing is that a distributor may not be running an auto ship. And if that was the case, I would be talking to the distributor about needing to be a product of the product and what's going on and how can I help and that kind of stuff. So those are usually what's happening. But I check that volume total by distributor after the 25th, because that is a real-time assessment of what the volume in the box is. So then from the 25th on to the end of the month, I am constantly looking at these boxes and where they're at, and I am changing the numbers as they change, so I always know. So for example, I'm trying to find my I guess I didn't have one. this is what last month's chart. So sort of complicated, but I just needed to track the volume in on a particular leg to make sure that it got to where it needed to go. And so as orders came in, I was taking down the number. So this is one of my top boxes, was at 330. I had my diamond leg, I needed to get to 0. So got down to 207 when I stopped charting it. And then this was the emerald leg. So every green box was at 400. This was actually the same chart I used when I promoted. So when I was checking the second month, I was check marking as we got them to 400 and just double checking and double checking and double checking the amounts. Now listen, this is my green side gone wild, right? We talked about the personality colors. Charting like this is not necessary. I am not a spreadsheet person. It is not like, I don't get like warm, fuzzy feelings about Excel or charts really in general. Graphs don't like thrill me. I don't go all gooey inside when I see a pie chart. But the thing that this does for me is give me information, and information is power. So if I know that I am, let's say, 300 BV away from my next promotion, and I know where that BV is, and I know how many people can be working on it with me, suddenly it becomes a lot more doable than if I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's just like, it just never happens. Like Ruby just doesn't seem to ever happen. Yeah, Ruby doesn't just happen on its own. Like people who are like, hey, yeah, I just organically promoted to diamond in the middle of the month. Like, wow, you must have on fire workers under you, because it's always been me charting and us rallying and figuring out what we needed and going till, and getting that volume for our boxes. It's never been like a la la la, it'll just happen kind of thing. I don't believe business grows just because you want it to and because you're like, I really believe in it. I think you have to believe you can do it, but I also think you need to know what you got to do to get there. Like it's like wanting to drive to a random town in Missouri and not turning your GPS on. Like that's just dumb. Like you're just going to end up lost in Kentucky somewhere. Or you might end up in Missouri because there's like signs to go to Missouri. But once you're in Missouri, how are you going to find that town? You need a map. Your charts are your map. I mean, I don't even care if you have a really great sense of direction. You need a map. You need to know where you're going in order to get there. And you need to do it yourself. And here's the thing. You need to understand how to do this because you need to build your own business. It's not fair for you to expect your upline to know where your chart is at any time. Like it's not fair for you to go to your upline and say, well, how much BV do I need to get to Ruby? I don't know, look in eSuite. Have you charted? That's always going to be my question. I may know the answer because I chart, but you should know the answer because it's your business. It's not my business. It's your business. If you want to get to Ruby, get to Ruby. That's your goal. So know how to get there. If you know what you need, then you know how you can go about doing it. So for example, if you know that you need 500 BV to go Ruby in all these different boxes, but you have your executive leg that's also working, then the two of you work together along with the people underneath her or him to get those boxes to 400. And then you work on getting those top boxes just underneath you to 400 along with those people. It's not just like you alone doing it. It's partnering with the people that are in your downline to help them be successful. And everyone wins when other people win. Like if you help people win, you win. That's just the rule of network marketing. Like you win when other people win. If you make it about you, you'll never get there. I truly believe that. You'll never get there. It's just too much. Or if you get there, you won't stay there for very long. It has to be a combination of where you want to go and where they want to go and helping them get where they want to go. And that helps you get ultimately where you want to go. So Yeah, that's what it looks like for me. Don't let this freak you out. This was like a psychological exercise. The month that I went double diamond, as we ticked off these boxes and they started going 400, I colored them in, and it was just like a psychological domino effect. And it helped me keep going when I was afraid that it wasn't going to happen, and I was really scared and worried. Every time, and I was working, this is Rachel's. Hope you don't mind I'm putting your business on the internet, Rachel. Every time like one of these things went green, it was like, oh my gosh, we're so close. Like, oh my gosh. And so that's why I do it. And I did it when I went diamond. And that's when it was such an awesome feeling to see the boxes be something I didn't have to worry about anymore, because it can feel really daunting. You know, if you have this giant diamond chart, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I have all these boxes that have to be full. But then you realize, wait, like half of them are already full. So you just start like highlighting them, and you're like, okay, I don't even have to worry about that anymore because it's done. To me, it's like crossing something off a to-do list. And if that doesn't tell you everything about my personality, I don't even know what will. It just helped me to feel like it was a doable, conquerable thing. So it's the same thing here. You know, I mean, a lot of times when you are finally boxed for Ruby, it's a lot of new people. And so when you have new people, they're infectious energy. Like, they're so fun to work with. Not that people who have been around aren't fun, but it's a different kind of like passion, and they're learning, and it's so much fun to work with them because they're so stinking excited about everything. And every time you coach them to get a new loyal customer, it's like you see this, it's like they ran a marathon, or they did something awesome. And so it's really like that. It's really fun to work with someone and say, okay, Mariana, we're going to get you to executive this month, which we are, by the way. Let's work with Ashley. Let's get Michelle going. Let's sign some loyal customers. Like, how about we all sign a loyal customer this weekend? I don't actually respond very well to challenges like that, simply because I am not red. But some people really respond well to that, or just like working with them. Hey, what are your potentials? Did you follow up? Like, how can I help? Let's talk about posts we can do. Let's talk about your list. Let's talk about a party. Let's make sure you launch. Like, all the different things that you can do. So, I mean, there are many ways to get a box to 400. Obviously, the way you want it is through loyal customers. But remember, now we have the option of social customers. They're 99 BV. So anyone that you know that runs a different kind of direct sales business that uses social media, that can be a fantastic way to fill a box. Remember, you can't move that volume like you can move a loyal customer. So you need to make sure that they sign up with the person that you want their volume to be in. Yeah, so that's the basics, and I went way longer than I thought. But questions, you can send me questions here, and I will answer them. Questions about charting, questions about eSuite, questions about life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. I don't really know the answers to those things, but I'll give it a go. I know I'm on a delay, so I'm just going to keep randomly talking until someone sends me a question. Questions. Send me questions. Let's see if you're on the... Or you can post them on Rap Revolution too, if you don't have. And I want to hurry up so that we can get on that call. Okay. I'm guessing that, oh. Okay. I'm guessing you don't have questions, which is awesome. So let's say this. If you have questions, and I'll post this on Wrap Revolution, if you have questions about charting, just a kind of general question about whatever, then post it there in the thread about the Google Hangout, and I will try to police that thread a little bit and answer the questions. Otherwise, I would strongly suggest you get on the Jade call and listen to that girl who signed 40 distributors. I know I'll be listening because what the heck. All right, so this will be up for another probably 24 hours, and then I'm going to delete it because you should tune in. So, all right, thanks for the 7 of you for watching. I appreciate you. And if I can help with your individual charts, let me know. I'd be happy to try. Obviously, if you're on my team. Otherwise, talk to your diamond or double diamond upline. They can help you better. They have a better sense of your business. So, all right, mwah, smooches.